Welcome to The Explainer. So, if you're a business leader, an executive, or the one calling the shots on cybersecurity, you've probably heard the term penetration testing tossed around in countless meetings. But let's be real for a second. The whole concept is usually buried under a mountain of technical jargon, making it super hard to know exactly what you're actually paying for. Today, we're making sense of all the penetration testing types. We're going to cut right through the noise and break down your options entirely jargon-free, because you need to make confident, practical decisions to secure your business.
So, the ultimate executive question we have to ask right out of the gate is this: do you even need a penetration test? And if you do, which kind is actually the right fit for your specific company? Look, this isn't just some routine IT checklist question. This is a critical business justification. You're committing significant time, serious budget, and resources here, so you really need to know exactly what you're getting into, what the scope is, and why it matters directly to your bottom line and honestly your company's reputation.
To figure all that out, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. Number 1, the compliance mandate. Number 2, testing your tech stack. Number 3, real-world attack vectors. Number 4, black, white, and gray boxes. And finally, number 5, specialized security tests. Let's just dive right in. Starting with Section 1, the compliance mandate, the regulatory push for security. Let's start with the harsh reality of the situation. The most common reason organizations actually kick off penetration testing isn't always because of some sudden proactive urge to audit their systems. In a lot of cases, it's simply because they're legally mandated to do so just to keep the doors open. Depending on where you are and what industry you're in, handling specific types of data triggers immediate legal obligations. For instance, if you process credit card payments anywhere, the PCI DSS framework absolutely requires annual penetration tests. Handling healthcare data in the US, HIPAA demands rigorous risk assessments. Over in defense, contractors face strict CMMC requirements, and if you're an essential service operating in the EU, you're looking at the heavy fines and strict guidelines of the NIS2 directive. So, penetration testing isn't just a nice-to-have best practice anymore. For many of you watching, it is literally the law. And that actually brings us to a really powerful insight from security analyst Alexander Swerdlov. He's an expert who's assessed everything from SaaS startups to massive banks and even nuclear power plants. He points out, and I quote, "Regulatory requirements don't care about that. You might be forced to perform at least one penetration test per year." What he's hitting on here is that even if your IT director swears up and down that your infrastructure is completely locked down, acting like an absolute fortress, the law still demands objective, third-party proof. Compliance regulations require formal, proactive testing, totally regardless of how secure you feel you are.
Moving on to Section 2, testing your tech stack, target-based vulnerabilities.
Okay, so if compliance regulations are the why, let's shift our focus over to the what. Like, what exactly are we testing? Well, to answer that, we really have to look at the core digital infrastructure that every modern company relies on just to function. The absolute foundational layer to examine is your network and your cloud environments. Network penetration testing focuses on sniffing out vulnerabilities in internal and external networks. We're talking probing firewalls, routers, switches, and yes, those remote access tools your work-from-home team use every single day. But honestly, today the most critical risks often live in the cloud. Whether your company builds on Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud, these setups frequently involve incredibly complex hybrid architectures. And as we know, complexity is the absolute enemy of security. Network and cloud testing is specifically designed to uncover unpatched software, dangerous misconfigurations, and just simple human errors, way before a threat actor can exploit them to breach your systems. Now, when it comes to web application penetration testing, the key here is that you need to perfectly match your application type to the correct testing approach. For example, if your main concern is external attack vectors from unknown hackers out in the wild, a black box test is going to be your ideal fit. But if you want to dive deep into your own code logic and session handling, white box testing provides that super comprehensive internal analysis. What if your applications rely heavily on exchanging data with other services? Well then, you absolutely need API testing to secure those communication endpoints. The whole point here is that you want to make sure you're investing in the precise type of test your specific tech stack actually needs, no more, no less.
That brings us to Section 3, real-world attack vectors, human, physical, and wireless.
Let's step away from the software code for just a second and look at the real-world stakes here, because the hard truth of cybersecurity is that the absolute most expensive, state-of-the-art firewall on the market literally cannot secure unpredictable human behavior or, a poorly locked physical office door. 15 minutes. This should be a massive wake-up call for any leader managing a remote or hybrid team right now. According to the source material, unsophisticated teenage hackers can break into most vulnerable home remote work Wi-Fi networks in under 15 minutes. Just let that sink in. Your company's most critical, highly classified data might be sitting on an employee's laptop in their living room right now. If their personal home Wi-Fi gets compromised that quickly, how secure is your corporate network, really? And this is exactly why we conduct physical and social engineering penetration tests. Social engineering tests basically evaluate human susceptibility. Will your team fall for phishing emails? Will they click on a bait link or just hand over their credentials to some impersonator calling the IT help desk? And then there's the physical testing side of things, which honestly feels straight out of a spy movie. Testers will actually try to clone employee access cards, bypass your security cameras, pick physical locks, or get this, even go dumpster diving behind your building just to find discarded, sensitive client data. These tests directly challenge your organization's internal culture, your employee awareness training, and your actual physical, real-world defenses.
Speaking of critical things that tend to fall through the cracks, we really have to talk about the database threat. Look, your databases contain your most valuable assets, right? But they also come with incredibly complex security manuals. Not surprisingly, very few IT experts actually have the time to sit down and read these manuals cover to cover. And as a result, a ton of databases are left dangerously misconfigured. We're talking plagued by weak or default credentials, excessive user privileges where people just have way more access than they actually need, malicious code injections caused by unsanitized search bars, and sometimes a total lack of encryption. Pen testers frequently find unencrypted database backups just sitting in insecure storage locations, completely exposed to anyone who knows where to look. Moving right along to Section 4, Black, White, and Gray Boxes, Understanding Methodologies. So the crucial point here is that once you figure out what parts of your business you need to test, you have to decide exactly how they're going to get tested. Let's translate these testing methodologies into clear business terms so you know exactly what level of access you're actually granting to your testing team. In a black box test, the tester has absolutely no prior knowledge of your network. None. They might just get an IP address range and a couple of company emails, and that's it. Think of this like a burglar trying to break into your house completely blind. It's the ultimate simulation of a blind external threat. It mimics exactly what a real-world hacker would see from the outside, which really forces the testers to get highly creative. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have white box testing. Here, the tester is more like a building inspector who already has the blueprints. They get full, unhindered access to your system details, your source code, the whole architecture. It's a deep, comprehensive internal analysis designed to catch those fundamental logic flaws that a quick external scan might completely miss.
And sitting right smack in the middle, we have gray box penetration testing. In this scenario, the attacker is provided with partial knowledge. So perhaps they're given a standard set of basic user credentials, or maybe a rough map of the network architecture. This approach is incredibly valuable because it perfectly mimics a rogue, malicious employee. Or it simulates exactly what happens when a standard, low-level user account gets compromised by an outside attacker. It essentially shows you the exact blast radius of a localized insider breach.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Specialized Security Tests, Securing the Next Generation.
Let's see how all of this builds up to the absolute cutting edge of technology. Because as business innovation rapidly evolves, the ways we test and secure that innovation simply have to evolve alongside it, right? Today, depending on your product, you might require highly specialized security tests. For example, specialized DevSecOps testing secures your continuous software pipelines, ensuring a hacker doesn't just inject malicious code right into your routine software updates. Or, if your business relies on blockchain, specialized audits will hunt for those subtle flaws in digital contracts that can literally cost millions. APIs, those crucial bridges between your apps, they're heavily tested because developers, frankly, often leave public endpoints entirely unprotected, just assuming hackers won't find them. And for companies building physical devices, Blue Teeth and hardware testing involves advanced reverse engineering to find vulnerabilities directly on the chips and firmware. The takeaway here is that no matter how innovative your tech stack is, there's absolutely a specialized test designed to secure it. So I want to wrap up this explainer with one final provocative thought for you to chew on. Take a quick mental inventory of your current infrastructure right now. Think about your remote workforce, your physical offices, and the data you're holding. If a highly sophisticated threat actor targeted your company tonight, which test would you look back on tomorrow morning and wish you had run? Understanding your options, from network scans to physical lockpicking to deep cloud audits, that is the very first step toward true security. So take that step, evaluate your posture, and get the right testing in place. Thanks so much for joining me today, and hey, stay secure out there.